Power Automate for SMBs, cut repetitive work by 60%. Power Automate for SMBs, cut repetitive work by 60%. That's what we're tackling today. If you've been wondering about Power Automate for SMBs, stick around. Now, what is Power Automate and why should SMBs care? Power Automate is a no-code/low-code automation platform that connects apps, services, and data sources through pre-built workflows called flows. It lives inside the Microsoft 365 ecosystem, which means if your team already uses Outlook, Teams, or SharePoint, you're likely paying for at least the basic tier already. The reason Power Automate for SMBs gets so much attention in 2026 is its connector library. The platform now supports over 1,000 connectors including Salesforce, QuickBooks, Slack, Stripe, MailChimp, and DocuSign, which means you're not locked into a Microsoft-only environment. A 3-person finance team at a startup can automate invoice routing between QuickBooks and SharePoint without writing a single line of code. For non-technical business owners, that's the honest selling point. You describe what should happen, and Power Automate builds the logic around it. Let's talk about moving on to the real cost of repetitive work in small businesses. Before comparing tools or pricing tiers, it helps to understand what manual processes actually cost. Most SMB owners underestimate this because the labor shows up as salary rather than a line item called wasted time. Here's a concrete example. An 8-person professional services firm tracked time for 1 month and found that's 7 hours per person per week, roughly 17% of a 40-hour workweek. Across 8 people at an average loaded cost of $45 per hour, that's $25,200 per month in labor for work a workflow could handle in seconds. Now, let's talk about Power Automate for SMBs, top workflow use cases. The most effective way to start is to target workflows that are high frequency and low complexity. You won't solve every problem in week 1, but you can deliver visible wins fast. Automated invoice processing is consistently the highest ROI starting point for small businesses. A typical flow: an invoice arrives as an email attachment, AI Builder extracts the vendor name, amount, and due date, the data gets logged to a SharePoint list or Excel sheet, and an approval request goes out in Teams or email. This replaces a process that usually takes 15 to 20 minutes per invoice and frequently introduces data entry errors. A business handling 50 invoices per month saves 12 to 17 hours of finance staff time every month. Next up, moving on to how Power Automate integrates with Microsoft 365. Power Automate's deepest integrations are with the Microsoft 365 stack, which is why it makes strong sense for teams already paying for Microsoft 365 Business Standard or Premium licenses. The most common integration points. The SharePoint integration alone replaces what many SMBs pay for in standalone project management or form routing tools. If you use SharePoint as a document repository, connecting it to Power Automate means every document upload can trigger a review, notification, or archiving workflow without anyone lifting a finger. For companies running on the Power Platform more broadly, this connects naturally into Power BI reporting and model-driven apps, so automated workflows can feed clean data directly into dashboards without manual exports. Let's talk about next up, setting up Power Automate without an IT department. This is where most SMB guides get vague. It's easy, just use templates. Doesn't help when you're staring at a blank canvas at 11 p.m. wondering if you'll break something. Here's a realistic path that works for non-technical business owners. The Microsoft Power Automate documentation includes hundreds of ready-made templates organized by use case and connected app. The workflow for save email attachments to SharePoint takes about 5 minutes to configure. These templates require zero coding and minimal customization. Now, Power Automate pricing, what SMBs actually pay. Power Automate pricing breaks into 3 practical tiers for small businesses. The honest answer on cost: most SMBs with fewer than 20 employees start with the per-user premium plan for 2 to 3 power users who build and manage the flows, then let everyone else trigger those flows without their own license. This keeps the actual monthly spend at $30 to $45 for most teams. The $150 per month process plan makes more sense once you have flows serving the entire company, since you pay once per flow rather than per user. Let's talk about measuring ROI. What to expect in the first 90 days. A Forrester Total Economic Impact study commissioned by Microsoft found that organizations using Power Automate see an average 140% return on investment over 3 years, with payback in under 6 months. For SMBs starting with high-frequency manual tasks, the payback often arrives faster. A realistic 90-day timeline looks like this. Days 1 to 30, set up 2 to 3 template-based flows targeting your highest volume manual tasks. Measure the baseline time spent before automation. Next up, now, Power Automate versus traditional workflow tools. Power Automate is not the only option for SMBs, and being clear about where it wins and where it doesn't makes the decision cleaner. Zapier has more third-party connectors overall, which matters if your stack is predominantly non-Microsoft. Make is cheaper at entry level but carries a steeper learning curve. Power Automate for SMBs wins clearly when your team lives in Microsoft 365. The integration depth with Teams, SharePoint, Outlook, and the broader Power Platform is meaningfully better than what Zapier or Make achieve in that environment. Next up, let's talk about common mistakes SMBs make with Power Automate. After seeing dozens of SMB Power Automate implementations, a few failure patterns show up repeatedly. Building flows nobody tests. A flow that runs correctly in development but breaks on real data is worse than no automation. It silently corrupts records or fires wrong notifications. Test every flow with actual production inputs before enabling it. No error handling. If a connector goes offline mid-flow, the default behavior is silent failure. Add run after conditions that catch errors and alert someone via email or Teams message. Let's talk about now. Conclusion. Power Automate for SMBs is not a magic fix, but it's close to one for teams drowning in manual, repetitive work. The real value isn't in any single automated flow. It's in the compounding effect of removing friction from processes that repeat dozens or hundreds of times per week. The businesses that cut repetitive work by 60% or more don't do it overnight. They start with 2 or 3 high-volume workflows, measure the time saved, then expand systematically. The tool is affordable, the learning curve is manageable without an IT department, and the ROI is measurable within 30 days. Pick one manual process your team completes more than 3 times per week and build a single Power Automate flow around it this week. That's the only first step that matters. If you want help identifying the right workflows and setting them up correctly, our team specializes in Power Platform implementations for SMBs and startups. Get in touch to start with a free workflow audit.